Sometimes it arrives in the middle of an ordinary day, when nothing dramatic has happened, and yet something inside you shifts slightly out of place. You look at your own life as if it belongs to someone else. And the question appears quietly, how did I end up here? It is not a crisis in the loud sense of the word, because the house stands, the bills are paid, and responsibilities have been carried for years without collapse. From the outside, the structure holds, but inside, something feels borrowed. You may wake up one morning and feel as if you stepped into a role long ago and never stepped out, and now the costume fits too tightly. There is no clear disaster to point at, no obvious mistake to confess, so the feeling becomes more disturbing, because you cannot justify it with facts. You think, nothing is wrong, so why does it feel wrong? That quiet contradiction creates anxiety. You recognize every object, but you do not recognize yourself. This does not mean you lived foolishly. It does not mean you betrayed your dreams. It means something subtler happened. Early in life, many choices are made under pressure that does not feel like pressure at the time, because it is simply the air everyone breathes. You move forward with the confidence of someone who believes that motion itself equals direction. You choose stability because stability feels responsible. You choose loyalty because loyalty feels honorable. You choose what works. You choose what is needed. You choose what keeps things steady. And for years, that works well. It builds a career, a family, a rhythm. It builds respect. But over time, the reasons that once felt solid begin to fade into habit. And habit becomes so automatic that you stop checking whether it still belongs to the man you are becoming. Life continues on rails. You keep moving forward. A version shaped by fear of failure, by desire to prove something, or by a quiet agreement to be the reliable one. That earlier version did his job. He protected you. But you are not only him anymore. The unsettling feeling of living the wrong life often appears when your inner growth outruns the structure you built to survive. And the structure does not collapse, it simply becomes too small. This is not visible from outside, it is felt from within. You may sit at a table with people who love you and suddenly feel a strange distance. Not because they changed, but because your internal landscape shifted. That distance frightens you. You wonder if something is breaking. For decades, your identity might have been built around function. A dependable man who shows up and does what needs to be done. There is dignity in that. There is real strength in that. But function is not the whole of a person. At some point, usually without warning, the question of meaning moves closer to the surface. And what once felt like purpose now feels like maintenance. You keep things running, but do you feel alive inside them? This is where the quiet unease grows. And because there is no catastrophe, you doubt your own perception. You tell yourself you should be grateful. You tell yourself others have it worse. Those statements are not wrong. They simply do not address the feeling. The feeling is not a complaint. It is a signal. It says that the inner version of you has moved forward quietly over the years, accumulating experiences, disappointments, small victories, and losses that reshaped your values. And now that inner version is looking at the outer structure and asking, does this still fit? And when urgency decreases, meaning becomes louder. When you ask it without panic, the atmosphere changes slightly, because the feeling stops being an accusation. The truth sits somewhere quieter. It says, you are becoming more aware. You can respect what you built and still feel restless. Restlessness does not erase gratitude. You are not broken. You are adjusting. And in that calm, you may notice that your life is not wrong. It is simply unfinished in ways you had not previously considered. And unfinished does not mean failed. It means still alive and still capable of reflecting who you are becoming. That realization does not solve everything, but it steadies the ground beneath you.